Hey, welcome to the long form version of this cut. This cut is in real time, no time lapses, no edits. This is real time how this went. Now, this is my buddy Vinny. Vinny normally has me do a bald mid drop fade with a 7 or an 8 against the grain. This week he wanted to switch it up and have me do a 2 with the grain. So I'm going to take you through the steps. I believe in real time this cut took like 16, 17, maybe 18 minutes. But right now I'm taking my my 2 guard with the grain, making sure that I go over every angle and curve of his head. Now, I don't recommend going with the grain on straight hair clients very often. It doesn't turn out ideally. You would get much better results maybe using a bigger guard against the grain, then smoothing it out with, that desired length with the grain. But at the end of the day, these haircuts are really a collaboration between myself and my client. So I'm always asking for feedback, trying to make sure that we're on the same page and that the client is happy with what I'm doing. But nevertheless, I did the 2 with the grain. I tried to go over it as many times as possible just to make sure that we're all smooth and even. But a lot of times when you go with a grain on a straight hair client, you're not gonna get every hair no matter how many passes you go through. It's just not as simple as it would be with a client with curly or coarse hair. It's got a deep wave pattern. It's really easy to get those hairs going with the grain that way, but this isn't that. As you can see, I can see that in the front, it looks like he has some hairs longer than others. And again, that's how it goes when you do a with the grain on a straight hair client. Maybe if we were to use a much shorter guard, but just generally the hair lays down so well for straight hair clients that this just isn't my recommendation. Now, my philosophy is not to put lines in because you got to take them out, or at least hard lines. I would consider this a soft line. And so what you see me doing here is I am taking my clippers with no guard. I have them half opened, as you see. Even though I'm creating a guideline, there is still hair on the head. You can still see that. So I try to follow that natural curve that the head has around I believe that's the occipital bone. So after I create that initial guideline, and you can tell that there was hair still left because now I got my clippers right side up. I got them closed all the way. And I'm going bald. I'm going against the grain. Now, if you notice, I'm flicking out and I'm creating a second soft guideline. Now, the difference between a soft and hard guideline, as far as I'm concerned, is in the manner in which you put it in. So, a soft guideline for me would be my clippers open to some degree, upside down like you saw the first time, or they could be closed and I'm going up and I'm scooping out. Some people call that a C-stroke motion, but that is another example of what I would consider a soft guideline. So like I said, I'm going like a 1/8 inch, maybe a 1/4 inch below the initial guideline, and I am scooping out. So I got everything cleared out mostly. Now as you watch, I'm doing the very same thing with the trimmers. I'm going just underneath that last guideline I just created. And now, so Vinny has hair at the bottom of his neck or nape that kind of shoots up. So I took my trimmers and I went against the grain there just to smooth that out. But the stuff at the very top, right underneath that second guideline I created. I'm scooping up. I have a very fluid motion to not create another guideline. And then in the middle of the neck, oftentimes people have muscles that kind of have peaks and valleys, so you got to make sure that you use your corners when you're addressing that point. But either way, as you see, I'm trying to smoothly let my wrist kind of flow while I'm going up. And again, I'm not going all the way to that second guideline I created. I'm going just below it to just give that transition from bald with my trimmer to how bald my clipper can get. So now what I'm doing is I'm taking a 4 against the grain around the perimeter. Notice I do this at an angle because a lot of times that colic in the back corner of your head, it spins your hair out in all different directions. So I do my best to go against the grain in a literal sense. I try to do it let's just say for number's sake, if the hair is coming down at a 30-degree angle, then I'm going at it in the opposite direction to meet that curve. So as you see in the front corner, now I'm going back up. I'm going up and back in an angle. So I do that very same thing all the way around the head. This is a 4. Now, my fade philosophy, the lower you are on the head, the closer the guard is, or the shorter the guard is. And the higher you get on the head, the longer the guard is, or the more open the clippers are. So again, this is now a 3 that I'm using, and I'm just a little lower than I was the first pass. My strike point is a little lower than it was when I was using the 4. Now, again, I try to do this at an angle. Vinny's hair kind of shoots forward, and then it kind of curves back around. So I'm just trying to meet the hair where it's coming. Notice too, I always got my hand on my offhand on my client. I'm always trying to stretch the skin to give me more tension to make a more intentional, efficient strokes. So I'm finishing out that second pass with my smaller guard. Now, when I say strike point, when I'm going in doing a fade, I'm always flicking my wrist, trying to manipulate and like manifest a fade. So when I say my strike point is lower, the area that I'm targeting with my clippers is what I mean by that. So I'm just finishing my second pass with my 3, trying to give a more smooth transition from that 2 with the grain on top to the very light bald fade on the bottom. So now I'm gonna clean Vinny off, make sure I've gotten all the hair out of the way so that if I miss some hair, then I can go back over that. Vinny looks pretty clean at this point. So I believe now I have put my 0 on. So now if you notice that those first 2 lines I created, they're starting to disappear now that I got that 0 on. And again, I'm flicking up and back as I go around the head. And then I got my thumb on the side of his head. I'm trying to create some tension by pulling the skin down, stretching the skin. Make sure my guard is on securely. Now, one of the things that I do too, I mix and match my guards. So you'll see some of my guards are purple, some of them are black. I actually have a bunch of guards that are different colors as well. But every one of my guards, I mix and match my guard set because there are some manufacturers will make a 1 and it will say it is 1/8 inch, and then another manufacturer's 1 will say 1/8 inch. But if you actually use two different manufacturers' guards, you're going to learn that they are actually a different length, even though they both say they're 1/16 or 1/32 or whatever it is, or 1/8. So I personally have two zero guards that I use. Some people refer to them as half guards. This is my black zero. This is longer than my purple zero guard. But I encourage any and everybody to use as many tools as they can to get the job done. As you see, this fade started to look pretty solid. Now, I can't take all the credit because Vinny has a very ideal hair situation. His skin to follicle ratio, contrast is really good, meaning he's light skinned, he's got dark hair, and it shows well. He's got great follicle density, so he's got tons of hair follicles per square inch. His hair is really agreeable. I mean, Vinny makes me look good. While I'm making Vinny look good, he's making me look good. Now, back to the fade itself. So as you see, I'm manipulating the lever on the left side of the clipper. I'm going, up and down on the clipper teeth, just to make sure I got the fade perfect. Again, I'm pulling down on the skin. I'm not just steadying Vinny's head, I'm actually stretching the skin as well, just to make sure that when I'm stroking up and scooping out, that I am not bunching up the skin, because that causes a whole lot of problems. You really have to master, body control and just having a steady hand to be able to do this the way that I do. I know that a lot of barbers don't fade the way that I do as far as like the method that they use. But as long as you get the desired result, it doesn't really matter how you do it. This just makes the most sense for me. Now, I mean, I'm technically 11 minutes in, because this haircut actually started almost a minute into the video, but I'm 11 minutes in and I'm almost done. And I don't know if you feel that I'm rushing or if you feel that I'm burning through this cut, but this is actually, this is a pretty steady pace. As you see, me and Vinny are talking and laughing. And that's one of the ways I build clientele, aside from doing a really good job on the cut. You have to really have a conversation with these people. These people, they work all week. They got personal issues going on. They got professional issues going on. They got family issues going on. So a lot of times people come to you for, stress relief, for advice, for help, for just to be a sounding board. So it's absolutely paramount that you take time to make a friend every time somebody comes to the door, because if everybody can do a good job on a haircut, or most people can do a good job on a haircut, the only way you're going to build clientele, assuming everybody does a decent job on a cut, is if you find a connection or a way to make these people come back to you. And unless you just absolutely knock it out the park with the fade, in a way that no other barber can, you're not going to get these people to come back. So you have to make sure that you create some type of a bond or friendship with these people, so that they value you more than just being a person that can cut their hair. Because a lot of people can do a good job on this fade. I guarantee you, all the viewers that watch this haircut, that cut, I guarantee you guys can do just as good a job on this fade as I can. But can you do it as quick as I can? Do you bring anything else to the table besides your skill set? Do you talk to these people? Are you always on time? Do you make them laugh? Do you make them think? Do you listen well? Are you doing exactly what they're asking? Now, I didn't think that the 2 with a grain was the move, but I've had several clients sit in my chair and tell me that the last barber that they went to, or stylist, didn't listen to a thing they told them. And so, are you the type of barber or stylist that does what you want? Or are you the barber or stylist that listens to your clients' wants and needs and does the best that you can to get them to that point? I think that is why I have so many clients and I do so well in this industry, is because the one thing I do well is listen. Enough about me. So as you see, again, I'm back to stretching the skin, working the fade out. I mean, it's almost 15 minutes into the video and the cut is damn near done. I'm about to hit the I'm about to hit the edge up in a second here. I just gotta bring this fade to a close. Now, I've seen different methods on how to do a reverse fade on the beard. As long as you get the desired result, you know what I'm saying. That's now. If you notice, when I'm stroking up, his skin is moving with my clippers, and so the reason I stretch the skin when I'm doing the fade, and the haircut, is to keep that from happening. But when I'm doing it on the beard, I want that to happen. I want his skin to move so I can get more, so I can get deeper into his skin with, or his hair with that guard. But yeah, I try to give his beard a nice little smooth transition. I see a little line that I'm not too happy with, so I gotta just nick that out. But as you see, I'm still flicking up, I'm scooping out. Some people refer to that as a C-stroke method. Color what you want, but it gets me the results I want. Now, when I'm doing the reverse fade on the beard, again, I don't stretch the skin because, again, I need that slack to help me manipulate the skin the way that I want it. Yeah. And now I'm at an advantage to a degree because the lever of the clipper is on the left side where my thumb is, so I can easily kind of flick that lever up and down to open or close the teeth pretty quick. Now, also too, what I just did there, Vinny has a little bald spot on the side of his head. I'm not trying to put Vinny out there, but as a barber or stylist, a lot of times you are the first person to see some of the blemishes and imperfection in a person, as far as it pertains to their scalp. A lot of times these blemishes are in place that the client can't see. So it's really important that you are, that you bring them in on that and let them know, hey, I see this. I don't know if you noticed this. And maybe this is an alopecia spot, maybe it's a stress spot, maybe it's a product that he uses that is causing this, but it is incumbent upon you as a professional to give your client a heads up on what you see, and notify them, hey man, you might want to go to a dermatologist, you might want to go to your doctor and see what this is. Just because I'm familiar with what it could be does not make me qualified to say what it is. So I really try my best to avoid making hard, steadfast suggestions on what it is or isn't. I just notify my client, like, hey, I see a dry spot, or I see that you got this, bump or something, or a bald spot on your head. I recommend you, run to a real expert on this and, get that figured out. Now, a lot of times when I'm doing the edge up, I start on the sides. Now, Vinny is pretty symmetrical, so Vinny's corners line up really well, and I've been cutting Vinny's hair for over a year now. But ordinarily, when I do an edge up, I start on the sides. But to be honest, I'm kind of all over the place. Most of the time, I don't do the same thing over and over again. I just kind of get in somebody's head, and I zone out and I get to work. A lot of time I'm just talking to the client, so I don't really have a method. I just move through the cut. But what I recommend, if I were to give advice, I would just do the edge up as low as you can on each side, and then square it up with the other side. And then with the front of the edge up, I do my best to get on that person's level so that I'm looking at them as if they would be looking at themselves in the mirror, to make sure that the edge up is straight as possible. Again, I'm not crazy about the two with the grain for Vinny. Some people complain that they feel like if you go against the grain, their hair grows back funny. So I let my client call the shots as long as they're happy when they get out of my chair. That's all that matters. But as you see, I got to go over this 7 different times just to make sure that I got the right, or I got all the hair at that length. But again, in the past, I've gone a 7 or an 8 against the grain with Vinny. So why today is different, I'm not sure, but So right now we're at 18. So yeah, we're at about the 19-minute mark on this haircut. And I'm just doing some finishing touches, but I've been done with this haircut for at least a solid minute now. So I'll say this was a 17-minute haircut. I believe this was done on a Friday, so it wasn't too busy at this point in the day. But normally on any given day, I'll have 3 or 4 walk-ins in the shop waiting. So it's paramount to be able to get in and out of a cut in a timely manner, because the more people you see in a day, the more money you make in a day. And you know, speed is the name of the game. I'm always going to harp on that. I hope watching this video, you got some insight on how I move and how I get through cuts so quickly. I guarantee you, this cut will take most barbers an hour, and it don't got to be that way. And so hopefully you picked up on some of the tricks that I use to get these results in the time that I get them in. But I've also heard that barbers don't show their clients the mirror. Show your clients the mirror.